The dress still hung in her closet, tags untouched. Tessa Morgan had picked it out 2 months ago, a deep blue satin that matched the Santorini waters she had dreamed of seeing with him. Tonight was supposed to be their 5th anniversary dinner. She'd imagined the warm island breeze, the flicker of candlelight on their private terrace, the way Logan would hold her hand and talk about forever. But forever, it turned out, had a shorter shelf life than she thought. Tessa was in the middle of reviewing a brand proposal when her phone buzzed. A banking alert. She barely glanced at it, ready to swipe it away, until she saw the name of the hotel, $912.56, Oya Grand Suites, Santorini, Greece. She blinked, then clicked into the app. No mistake. The charge had gone through that morning. Her heart didn't race, not yet. She told herself it could be a glitch, maybe a booking he'd forgotten to cancel. Maybe he was surprising her early. She called him. Voicemail. She texted. Weird charge just came through. Call me? 3 dots appeared, then vanished. She called again, straight to voicemail. That's when her stomach sank. Not because of the silence, but because she knew Logan. He was the kind of man who logged every expense on a spreadsheet. He once called her at 2 a.m. because her $7 Uber Eats tip didn't match his expected average. She switched to Instagram. He hadn't posted anything. But his location tag was active. Santorini. Not New York, where he told her he had back-to-back court prep all weekend. Her hand went still. Then, with the kind of eerie calm that surprises even yourself, she called Linda. His mother picked up after one ring. Tessa, I was just about to text you. The photos turned out so beautifully. Greece is stunning, isn't it? Tessa's mouth went dry. Photos? From Santorini. I'm so glad you two finally made it out there. Logan told me it was a last-minute escape. Romantic, spontaneous, just like him. Tessa smiled. Would you mind forwarding them to me? My camera's acting up. Of course, sweetheart. They're in the family album folder. Check your email. The line disconnected. Within seconds, the photos loaded. First, a terrace with infinity pool, sunset glowing like fire behind it. Second, Logan raising a glass of champagne at dinner, grinning. Third, Logan kissing a woman in a white swimsuit. Blonde hair, ocean wet, her hands tangled in his curls. Savannah, his ex. Her lungs didn't tighten, her hands didn't shake, not yet. She simply stared at the image, her mind tracing back every business trip, every late-night call she hadn't questioned, every sudden plan change she had forgiven. It all fit now, the patterns, the lies. She texted Logan one thing, a red heart, then opened her laptop. A new folder, a new plan. Exit strategy. Before we jump in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The apartment was silent, almost too clean, as if the walls themselves had been waiting for the truth to echo off them. Tessa stood in the hallway, her phone screen still glowing with the photo of Logan and Savannah. She didn't zoom in, didn't study it. One glance had been enough to fracture something inside her, not just trust, but identity. For 5 years, she had built a life around a man who, with one impulsive vacation, had unraveled it in full view of the Aegean Sea. But there were no tears. Not yet. Instead, there was a numb kind of clarity. The kind that comes right before a storm, when everything inside you goes completely still. She turned off the screen and walked into the bedroom. The navy blue dress still hung there, fluid, elegant, romantic. The tag fluttered slightly in the draft from the AC. She didn't touch it. Instead, she sat on the edge of the bed and opened her laptop. Step 1. Separate the financials. She and Logan had shared a joint account for 2 years. It was where both their paychecks landed. Their future fund, he'd called it, back when things still felt like a shared dream. Mortgage payments, investment portfolios, travel savings, all logged, color-coded, and obsessively updated by Logan, who once told her that spreadsheets were a love language. She logged in. 3 new withdrawals over the last 10 days, 2 from luxury resorts in Santorini, 1 from a boutique jewelry store. Her eyes paused on the last one. Jewelry. Savannah didn't wear jewelry when they dated. Tessa remembered that clearly. She said it got in the way of her yoga flow. But maybe now she liked rings. Maybe now Logan did too. Tessa clicked the download button and began saving transaction records, labeling each one with a calm that surprised her. Then came the real surprise. She opened the retirement account portal. Her name was still listed as a co-beneficiary, But the contributions had shifted. A few months back, Logan had stopped directing portions of his paycheck into their shared fund. Instead, a new account had been added, an account that didn't have her name on it. She stared at the screen, the weight of it hitting all at once. Not just the affair, but the exit plan he had quietly set in motion long before Santorini. He had already started disappearing from their life. She closed the laptop and let her hands rest on top of it. The betrayal wasn't just about another woman. It was about being erased. Tessa looked around the apartment, his watch on the dresser, the shoes he never put away, the pair of tickets to a jazz night she had bought and he'd forgotten to mention. The whole place was a curated illusion, a theater where she had been cast as the loyal partner in a story already rewritten without her consent. But that was the thing about illusions. You could dismantle them just as carefully as they were built. She stood, her spine straightening. If he wanted a future without her, she would give it to him, just not the way he expected. Tomorrow, Logan would still think she was here, still think she was waiting. She would reply to his texts, pretend she hadn't seen the pictures. Maybe even call him babe. But by the time he landed back in New York, Tessa Morgan would no longer exist. Not for him. Not the version he thought he could lie to and keep. Only the version he should have feared. The one who knew how to disappear and how to make sure he felt every second of it. She picked up her phone again. No missed calls from Logan, no texts since that afternoon. Of course. He thought she was clueless. She sent him a message. Hope the meetings went well. Just made dinner. Can't wait to see you soon. Then she powered off her phone, opened a clean notebook, and wrote one word at the top of the page. Reclaim. Underneath, she started the list. It wouldn't be loud, it wouldn't be messy, but it would be unforgettable. And when it was done, Logan wouldn't ask where she went. He would ask how he ever thought she'd stay. Tessa didn't sleep that night. Not because of heartbreak, but because her mind was alive with blueprints. She sat cross-legged on the living room rug, a cup of cold tea beside her, laptop open, notebook pages scattered like puzzle pieces. This wasn't a breakdown. This was an operation. Quiet, controlled, surgical. At 3:12 a.m., she began closing every shared account one by one. The credit card linked to both their names? She called the bank and requested immediate removal of her name under fraud concern. The representative, sleepy and hesitant, eventually complied. She left a paper trail in her favor, just in case Logan tried to weaponize the money later. The investment portfolio. She downloaded years of history and highlighted every single contribution she'd made solo. By dawn, she had a clean copy saved to 3 separate drives and a printed file in her safe. Her just-in-case savings, money she'd slowly been tucking away in a high-yield account Logan didn't know about, was now her launch pad. At 6:43 a.m., she called in sick to work. It was a first. In 5 years, Tessa had never missed a day. Her boss sounded concerned but understanding. She said she needed to handle something personal. She didn't lie. Not exactly. By 9 a.m., she was at a coffee shop across town, sitting across from Kira, the real estate agent she'd worked with back when she was helping Logan find investment properties. Kira remembered her. More importantly, Kira had just listed a fully furnished one-bedroom in a boutique building with month-to-month leasing and no need for co-signers. Tessa signed the lease by 11. A quiet apartment with no memories, no framed photos of couples' goals. Just clean walls and open space. Exactly what she needed. By noon, the movers arrived, not at their shared apartment, but at a storage unit Tessa had secretly rented weeks ago when she first sensed something was off. Call it intuition? Call it survival. But now it was her escape route. As the boxes were packed, she moved through their apartment with eerie calm. She knew exactly what to take and what to leave behind. The framed photos? Gone. Her books, clothes, and grandmother's record player? Packed. The gifts Logan gave her during their first year? Left behind. She didn't need reminders from a man who could plan a beachside dinner with his ex while texting "I love you" from another continent. On the kitchen counter, she left 2 wine glasses and a bottle of his favorite Malbec. Next to it, she placed a handwritten note. Not a confession, not a goodbye, just one line. You'll find what you're looking for when it's already gone. Then she walked out. By 4 p.m., she had officially vanished from the life they built together. The building security? Updated. Mail forwarding? activated. Her digital footprint, scrubbed. She deleted shared calendars, disconnected the smart home app from her phone, and reset every password. Tessa Morgan was, for all practical purposes, erased from the shared narrative. But that wasn't the end. Not yet. Because Logan still didn't know what she knew, still believed she was waiting, still imagined he'd come home, offer some vague explanation, and smooth things over with a few well-rehearsed apologies. Tessa smiled at the thought. Let him think that. Let him come home to the illusion she left behind. Because she hadn't just disappeared, she had rewritten the ending. And Logan was about to read every word. At exactly 7:26 p.m., the door opened. Logan stepped into the apartment, suitcase in one hand, sunglasses still perched on his head. His shirt was unbuttoned at the collar, his skin tanned from days under the Bali sun. He was smiling, an easy, smug smile, as he called out, "Babe, I'm home." The echo of his voice bounced off the empty hallway. He paused, noticing the soft lighting, the welcome still life she'd curated. A candle burned on the console table. A plate of chocolate truffles, his favorite, rested beside 2 crystal wine glasses and the Malbec she'd left for him. And beside it, the note. He picked it up, frowning. "You'll find what you're looking for when it's already gone." Confused, he set it back down and wandered toward the kitchen. "Tess?" he called again. "You here?" No answer. He checked the bedroom. Pillows fluffed, robe laid out, as if she'd just stepped out for a moment. But something was off. His eyes scanned the room, and then again slower. No phone on the charger, no jewelry on the dresser, no Tessa. He opened the closet, half empty. Panic didn't set in right away, just a dull, creeping chill in the back of his throat. He walked through the apartment, opening drawers, checking the bathroom. Her perfume was gone, so was her toothbrush. Still, he clung to delusion. She must have gone out. "Dinner prep, maybe?" He texted her. "Hey, just got in. Where are you? Place looks amazing, can't wait to see you." He waited, read receipts off, no reply. He texted again, "You okay? Call me." Then, trying to play it cool, he FaceTimed her. It rang once, then went to voicemail. That's when the first crack split the surface of his confidence. He sat down on the edge of the bed, pulling out his phone, tapping through social media. Nothing new from Tessa. No pictures, no updates. Then he opened his messages with Vanessa. The last one she'd sent was a selfie at the beach that morning. Bikini, wink, captioned, "Already miss you, babe." Guilt stirred in his chest, but not enough to stop him from saving the photo. As he scrolled, a push notification pinged on his screen, a charge from their joint account, one he didn't recognize, another, then another. His heart skipped. He opened the banking app. His password didn't work. He tried again, still wrong. He blinked, hands now sweaty. He tried resetting the password, but the recovery email had been changed. Then a new text buzzed on his screen. "Unknown number. You never thought I'd leave. That was your first mistake." His stomach dropped. He jumped up, pacing the room. "Tessa?" He checked her location. Nothing. "Find my iPhone?" Disconnected. Then it hit him. She was gone. Not out for groceries. Not off sulking somewhere. Gone, and not just physically. She had erased herself. With intention, with precision. He called her again. Voicemail. He called his mother. "Sweetheart," her voice chirped through the speaker. "Did she love the surprise? I told you the wine and banner were a great idea." Logan swallowed hard. "She's not here." Silence. "What do you mean, not there?" "She's gone, Mom." He sat back on the couch, eyes on the empty wine glasses in front of him, that note burning in his hand. He whispered to himself, "What the hell did I just walk into?" Across town, in a quiet apartment filled with sunlight and silence, Tessa sat on her balcony with a glass of chilled white wine. She watched the city lights flicker to life and let herself breathe. For the first time in years. No ring, no confrontation, no tears, just the quiet satisfaction of a woman who hadn't been broken, only underestimated. And that was his final, irreversible mistake. The next morning, Logan stood in the middle of their apartment, no, his apartment now, looking like a man dropped in the middle of someone else's life. He hadn't slept. He had paced every inch of the space, opened every drawer, reread every note and message Tessa had ever written him. The engagement ring he'd hidden in the closet. Gone. Her files from the office desk. Gone. Even the damn pink mug she used every morning for tea. Gone. What she left behind was intentional. Surgical. Just enough to haunt him. And it was working. At 9:12 a.m. his phone rang. It was his assistant, nervous and breathless. "Logan, I just got a call from Henderson Group. They're pulling the account." "What?" he barked. "They said they've spoken directly to Tessa and will be moving forward with her as lead strategist, effective immediately." He dropped onto the couch, stunned. "That doesn't make sense. She's not even. They said she's operating under a new entity now, Evans Strategy Group. They've signed a transfer agreement." He didn't respond. He couldn't, because the next call came before he could process the first. This time from the Wilson Group. Then Techline. One by one, the clients he had quietly siphoned from under Tessa's nose were now running to her new agency. He tried calling the partners, but they weren't taking his calls. When he arrived at the office, the receptionist gave him a tight smile and handed him a sealed envelope. "From legal," she said. Inside was a memo, dry, sterile, brutal. "Effective immediately, Mr. Logan Whitmore is placed on administrative leave pending internal review of client account discrepancies and breach of ethics policies." He stood frozen, right there in the lobby, as the office he once ruled turned to ice around him. People passed him without a glance. Some whispered. Others didn't bother hiding their smirks. The fall was fast. But the fall wasn't the worst part. It was the silence from Tessa. He called, texted, emailed, begged. Nothing. Not even a blocked number. Just pure, cold absence. That night, he sat in their old bedroom, alone. He opened his laptop and searched for her. LinkedIn, updated. CEO of Evans Strategy Group. Instagram, private, but her profile photo was new, her standing confidently on a rooftop, city lights glowing behind her. His phone buzzed. It was a message from Vanessa. "So I heard you're free now. Drinks?" He stared at it, then threw the phone across the room. No one had ever left him before. Not like this. Not quietly. Powerfully, completely, not with a smile and a strategy. But Tessa? She hadn't left him in anger. She'd left him like a queen leaving a pawn behind on the board. The game was over. He just hadn't realized he'd lost it before it even began. 6 months later, the skyline outside Tessa's new office glowed gold in the early evening light. Her name, Tessa Evans, shone proudly on the glass door of Evans Strategy Group, now one of the most buzzed-about boutique agencies on the East Coast. Inside, the atmosphere was electric. Her team, hand-picked, razor-sharp, loyal, worked with quiet confidence. The office was sleek but warm. No pretense, no politics, just purpose. Tessa stood by the window, a glass of sparkling water in hand, reviewing final notes for her keynote speech at the Women in Business Gala that evening. She wasn't nervous. She was ready. This speech wasn't about revenge. It was about rebirth. Her new life was simple, not small, focused, controlled by no one but herself. She had moved into a new apartment, modest, sunlit, filled with soft fabrics and real joy. No one else had a key. No one else had a say. And Logan? She hadn't heard from him in months. After the firm's internal investigation exposed his mismanagement of client funds, he was quietly let go. No lawsuit, no headlines, just a whispered exit and a reputation scorched beyond repair. Vanessa? Rumor had it she'd moved on to a tech CEO in San Francisco. Of course she had. Tessa didn't keep tabs. She didn't need to. Because while they were still chasing power through people, Tessa had found power in herself. That night, as she stepped onto the stage in a crimson silk jumpsuit, the crowd rose in applause. She smiled, not for them, but for the girl she used to be. The one who stayed silent. The one who begged to be chosen. She began. "I used to think love meant compromise, that loyalty meant sacrifice. That being the quiet one meant I was strong. But strength isn't silence. It's knowing when to walk away without burning the room behind you. It's disappearing on your terms and reappearing as someone they never saw coming." The room went still. Then came the standing ovation. Later, on the balcony with the city lights stretching out like stars below, Tessa's phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "I saw your speech. You're incredible. I'm proud of you, Elle." She stared at it for a moment, then calmly pressed delete. No reply. Because this life? It didn't need closure. It didn't need an apology. It only needed her. As the night wind brushed her skin, Tessa closed her eyes and whispered to no one but herself, "I was never yours to lose. I just needed time to remember that." And with that, she turned back toward the party. Her people, her future, her power. The chapter was closed. But her story was just beginning. 1 year later, spring sunlight filtered softly through the tall windows of a sleek corner office overlooking Manhattan. Tessa Jennings sat quietly, sipping green tea from a handmade Kyoto ceramic mug, the same one she had bought on a solo trip last fall. Her name etched in gold on the frosted glass door now read, Tessa Jennings, founder and principal strategist, Arcadia & Co. 1 year ago, that name had been wrapped in betrayal, confusion, and heartbreak. Now, it stood for clarity, power, reclamation. Her phone buzzed gently on the desk. It was Rena, a new intern from Brown. She knocked once and entered, clutching a folder, nervous but eager. "Miss Jennings," she said, voice unsure. "Sorry to bother you, but can I ask you something personal?" Tessa set her mug down, giving the girl her full attention. "How did you know?" Rena asked. "When it was time to walk away?" Tessa leaned back, her mind briefly wandering to the quiet apartment, the champagne glasses, the diamond ring left behind. To Ryan's stunned face as he realized she'd vanished from his life without a single scream. "I didn't," she said honestly. "Not at first. But I knew I deserved clarity. And sometimes the only way to get that is by walking away from the noise." Rena nodded, eyes wide. "So, it's not about revenge?" Tessa smiled, soft but certain. "No, it's about respect for yourself." There was a silence between them, heavy but warm. Then Tessa added, almost in a whisper, "A year ago, I thought losing someone meant losing everything. But now, I know, when someone who never truly saw you leaves, that's when you finally begin to see yourself." That evening, after everyone left, Tessa stayed behind. She checked her inbox. One unread message stood out. Subject, "I wish I had listened," from Vanessa Mercer. Tessa didn't open it. She simply archived it with one click. Forgiveness didn't require re-entry. Closure didn't require conversation, and some messages were best left unread. Later that night, at a rooftop garden mixer hosted by the Women in Strategy Alliance, Tessa stood beneath string lights, surrounded by other women who had been underestimated, overlooked, betrayed, and who had rebuilt from scratch. She raised her glass and smiled. "Here's to us," she said. "To the women who don't scream when betrayed, but disappear just long enough to come back as storms." Laughter and clinking glasses echoed across the terrace. And just like that, with her heels grounded and her heart light, Tessa Jennings moved forward again, this time on her own terms. This story reminds us, true strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's in the silence, in the calm before you disappear, in the clarity of knowing your worth. What did you think about Tessa's quiet revenge? Comment 2 if you loved it, or 7 if you think she should have confronted him directly. If this story inspired you, like this video, and subscribe to Ian Reddit's Story for more powerful stories that remind you, you always have the right to walk away and never look back.